I think it's funny how everybody's true colors are coming out, especially the black people, because y'all are quick to forget what country you guys flee to shelter when you were slaves. You're quick to forget when Black Lives Matters movement was happening, who was right there next to y'all. Y'all quick to forget that every time you guys are out there protesting for your rights, who was right there next to y'all. Now y'all out here making videos talking about like, let's sit this one down. But you're also quick to talk shit on us. And then when we say something, you're quick to play the victim card and say, well, you're being when y'all are starting it. But you know, to each their own. No, because somebody needs to come educate her. Because you know how many times we've been writing with y'all?
Is what does civil rights mean to you? So given the work that you've done on the marker, the fact that you're part of La Típica, and all the things that you've been a part of, what does civil rights mean to you?
To be honest with you, when all this civil rights movement came in with Lyndon Johnson and such, I considered it more as being a benefit to the blacks than to us, because we were already accepted.
You know how many times y'all went out protesting for your rights and we were right there next to y'all?
So when you did go downtown and there was black and white people intermingling, were the Mexican Americans segregated to where the white people were or the black people?
To where the white people were.
So you would drink and go through the doors that the white people went through and white were.
Well, since you want to talk like that, none of us have asked, and none of you Negroes for none of us have asked, and none of the Negros for nothing.
My African American sisters and brothers, are you wondering how you can help the Latino community right now that we're going through hard times? Join us. Join A Day Without Immigrants, Monday, February 3rd. No work, no shopping, no school, and I will go as far as no social media that day. We need to send a clear message.
46% with the Hispanics, 46%, number one with Hispanics.
This is the time for all the minorities, all the movements, all the working class to come together and really build power and really fight against the fascism that's been here, but finally popping its head out and being loud and proud about it.
Let me cut you off. Are you black?
Comprehend the support from the African American community to Donald Trump and mass deportations. They don't like you guys either.
I guess you fucking got me!
One thing that I have to ask is got me really bothered is, where are y'all Black Lives Matter people at, man? When y'all needed us Mexicans and all my peoples was there, standing, marching along with y'all right there, ready to take out whatever needed to be done.
I will vote for Donald Trump.
Okay, we have not said join our fight. But if you're gonna sit this one down, sit down and shut the fuck for once. How funny you wanna call me Gore that bitch. But you're over here looking like this. You look like a man, babe. But you know. Oh, and since you want to learn Spanish so bad, tú eres una puta gorda que aparte de negra eres naca.
But there's also the element of racism, of the belief among some Mexican Americans that blackness is inferior.
Sometimes maybe the white people are gonna need us, maybe the black people are gonna need us. You don't know, because God give us things, give us blessings, but he can take them away so fast. So you need to be humble. You need to be humble.
By the time the sun sets tomorrow evening, the invasion of our borders will have come to a halt, and all the illegal border trespassers will in some form or another be on their way back home.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
I don't know where to begin. So I am Indigenous Mexican and African American, and I made a previous video and I just wanted to add context to it. because I am no Sabo. I don't speak Spanish, and I was raised by my African American mother. And in my video, I said that I am grateful that I did not learn how to speak Spanish, and it's very true, right? Had I learned how to speak Spanish, had I grown up with more Mexican influence in my life, and it's not to say that Mexicans were completely absent from my childhood or development, had I grown up with more of a Mexican influence as a Mexican and African American woman, I would hate myself, okay? I would absolutely hate who I am internally. And it's heartbreaking to admit, but it's the truth. And it just comes from a realization that, Mexicans do not like Black people, okay? They don't like African Americans, frankly, and they don't like mixed children with African Americans, and they don't like indigenous Mexicans. So all of that combined just creates a whoa realization for me. And really a lot of that came from being confronted with so much racism this year. And I can go into more context in a different video, but that's what I basically meant in my video. Had I grown up around more Mexicans, understanding Spanish, regardless of whether or not they're family, just more with a Mexican influence in my life, I would hate myself. And I would really, really struggle, and I would have, and I don't want to say this to make light of any of it, because a lot of indigenous Mexican girls hate themselves. A lot of indigenous Mexican women have grown up with this disgust for their own self, because it's it's conditioned in Mexican culture to worship the white woman, the güerita, the foreign white women. This is all, I'm learning all of this year. But I never knew any of that. I was completely, and this is why sometimes ignorance is bliss. I was completely ignorant to all of that my entire childhood. I'm 28 now, into my adulthood. And I just wanted to add that with this knowledge, this newfound knowledge, I feel compelled to do something and help brown girls, because it's like, what do you mean we're ugly? Honest to God, my entire life, I've always known Mexican people to come in all shades, but I've just always viewed, there's some Mexicans who are more brown, me. There's some Mexicans that are white. I've never really interacted too heavily in friendships with white Mexicans personally, because I've always viewed them more as, and this is not to be discriminatory towards you guys, but I've always viewed you guys more as whitewashed, or you want to be white. I've always had a full understanding that I'm a woman of color, and I've always been very proud of that. So I can go into context in another video, but it's like I don't know, I feel like I'm being born again. This entire year I'm being born again, and this is just a huge part of it.
So we have a discourse going on between, I think majority Mexicans and the Black community. And I just have to say to my Mexican people who are asking why the Black people are not protesting with us or whatever, why? Why would they? 92% of their women voted for Kamala. 80% of their community of men voted for Kamala. 60% of Latinos voted for Kamala. And I believe the majority were women and the majority were Mexican. But that number is crazy, considering that Hispanics and Latinos are becoming the fastest growing minority. We are going to be the majority soon. And it's crazy for me to think that number was so low. And now you're asking where the Black community is when they're the ones who tried to avoid this. Hello? They tried to avoid this. We all tried to tell you guys, even within my own community. I'm talking to you guys because I did the work. And I know other Latinas who did the work. We were on calls every week. We were writing postcards. We were making phone calls. And you guys were probably nowhere in sight, my Latino community. And now you're begging the Black community to come help us, to come save us. No! I think it's time we learn to save ourselves and let the Black community rest, because my God, have they not done enough work. So, yeah. Where were we during the George Floyd protests? Or the Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland? When their community was getting killed, where were we? Because I do not remember seeing any Latin people out there. Now, maybe there was one or two of y'all. I don't remember seeing any Mexicans out there. So why should they put their time, their energy, all of this into helping a group of people who didn't give a shit about them when they needed our help? Think about that. Also, where the hell are all you Latinos for Trump at? Because I see a lot of you guys crying on here that you regret your decision. He lied to us. He used us. Where the fuck are you? Are you out there protesting? Because you are really the ones who need to be out there. You guys. And all your regrets for voting for him. So before you guys start wondering where the Black people are, wonder where the Latinos for Trump are. Where the fuck are they? That should be the question we're asking.
Give a special shout out to anybody who made it to the live stream. And again, this is just a shorter format of said live stream, pretty much straight and to the point. I find it very interesting to go online every day and vocally see a plethora of people outwardly state that, hey, Black people, we did all of these things for you. Why is it that you can't come out and show up and do these things for us after we've supported you for so many years, or through different protests and different events of what it is that is taking place in your community? We didn't have to sit up and support you, but we did, Black people. So now it is your time to show up for us. People tend to forget that historically, even though things have been categorized as Black this or Black that, the overarching thing of it is that if Black people are able to get the things that they need and they're able to just be, then that also goes to, aka the trickle down effect, that will then go to all of the other minorities and the groups directly out there. At least that is specifically how Black Americans have always thought about certain situations. We don't normally, in everyday terms, think about just selfishly ourselves. Everybody else has that luxury to do that. We don't really get that option to, in a sense, just be selfish for generations and just solely think about ourselves. We have always been the type of people, we've always been the group to try to do for other people. But even though we actively try to do for other people, somehow, some way, it's not enough. Somehow, some way, people don't see it. People don't want to acknowledge it. People want to move the goalposts. People just want to have something to say. And for the longest time possible, Black community has always turned the other cheek, no matter what type of disrespect that has happened, no matter what type of slide, snide, or side remarks that people have made. We've decided to take the higher road every single time. And we've always tried to look ahead, because we've understood that at a moment in time that we decide to stop and stare and we want to just take in what other people are stating, then we're going to trip up. We're going to mess up somewhere and everything is going to fall down, not just for us, but for everybody. So instead of us just stopping and staring, we've decided to move directly to the side of the road and allow all of the traffic to and from to go by. And instead of us trying to direct, instead of us trying to instruct, instead of us trying to guide, instead of us trying to finish a unfinished road, or to fill up any potholes, or to move any objects in a road that others might not be able to see in a far distance, instead of us doing all of those helpful things, we've decided to just stop doing for everybody else. And the moment in time that we do, we have a lot of people crashing out. We have a lot of people getting angry, a lot of people getting mad. In certain instances, such as the video of the woman that you can see directly in front of you, she wanted to say a variety of things about the Black community, more specifically about a darker complected Black woman who has a, I would say, medium-sized nose, at least to me. And you were able to hear this woman go in, and she wanted to call the woman directly out of her name. She wanted to say this, she wanted to say that. And I'm like, that's a little bit weird. But again, I understand it because somebody such as her, who is fair skinned, passable, nobody's going to really deem her anything else. She has pretty much what European type size nose and the straight hair, right? She has all of those things. She feels as though within that she can easily critique somebody who is darker complected. And more specifically, when it details the fact that with her people, they specifically have a problem, a colorist problem, a texturist problem, a racism problem in and amongst their own people when it deals with the darker complected individuals or the more melanated individuals there. So as I stated in the live stream, it's pretty much the same thing here. However it is that they feel internally at home is the same thing that they're going to spout outwardly when it deals with people who are more melanated, who look vastly different, or who reminds them of the people that they have directly at home. And this is what, again, allows her to speak the way and feels the way that she happens to feel. This is how she can dictate certain things when it deals with the Black community. Oh, you guys need to do this. You guys should be, doing that and all this other type of stuff. Remember when you guys were slaves and you were running to us from America and what we did for you? It's funny how people always want to throw their back into the Black community's face. Hey, you guys are slaves. You don't want to talk about no other history. You don't want to talk to no other extent of anything else taking place. That's the only point of origin that seemingly everybody knows. No other type of history about Black Americans, just slavery. That's it. Just being slaves. That's it. And these are the exact same people who voted to cast out their own people when it deals with the voting situation and the Trump administration. But somehow, some way, the Black community are the ones that are supposed to come through and fix and find a way to make everything okay. The same exact way that Black Americans have always tried to do in the United States, not just for us, but for everybody else. Because we knew that if we're going through it, that sooner or later, somebody else that is different from us will have to go through the exact same things. And that's not something that we would want anybody to have to face. But at this moment in time, I guess everybody needs to face it in order to understand where it is specifically that Black community, Black people, Black Americans have been coming from, in order to get a little bit of the understanding of a taste of the history of what it is that we had to suffer through. And even if we allow that to transpire and go down, people will turn around and state that, oh, you guys have never, Black Americans, you guys have never suffered like us. Historically, you guys have never went through the things that we went through. You this and that. You don't have the same. It's going to be still something else. And people are going to refuse to understand and to see the part that they play in a lot of these plans. So here we are. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.